Here are 5 things going on in the whiskey world right now that have my attention. What's up, everybody? It's Ty the Bourbon Guy, and welcome back to my channel. So I came across 5 different headlines from breakingbourbon.com. If you've never been to that website, please go check it out. They do a lot of reviews, a lot of news. It's just one of my go-to sites that I check out frequently when I'm trying to keep up with the whiskey world. And I came across these 5 headlines that caught my attention. All right, number 1, Buffalo Trace introduces Weller Millennium. Here's another product from Buffalo Trace that I'll never get. It's it's a whole thing. But this one is actually going to be a blend between straight bourbons and wheat whiskeys. I noticed that they mentioned this would include whiskey that was distilled in 2000, 2003, 2005, and 2006. But I did not see age statements, which could mean that they aged it for a certain amount of time and then just held it in a different container. So I don't really know where that lands. If it really is that old, or you're just trying to make it seem like it's that old. It's gonna be something in a raffle or something I'll never get. I understand that you hold back certain whiskeys for certain projects, and you know, especially when you're talking about that far out, and whiskey is a very tough market to try to project. I get all of that. But what I just struggle with is your base offering of this brand is very, very hard to find still. And even with that, we still keep introducing other brands. And whether that's the intent or not, it's just, if people can't even get the basic thing, then I don't know, like, why keep coming out with different brands and a new name and a new story, and it's got to be this whole thing? For me, I think it'd be much better suited if you just at least made sure your flagship product was more available. And I know they're working on that with actual Buffalo Trace, but I'm thinking of just the Weller lineup itself. Special Reserve, people are still overpaying for this bottle just because they can't find it. And it is good at the price point it should be, but I don't know how much it's gonna be worth it at $100. But at 20, 30 bucks, yeah, it's a great bottle for sure. So to me, I wish they would just kind of focus more on getting that out. And maybe I'm missing it. Maybe it's everywhere but where I live. I don't know, but I just wish they would focus more on that and less with these projects and less with these limited edition bottles that nobody's ever gonna find. All right, number 2, Kentucky Peerless releases their second batch of their rum finished bourbon. Kind of conflicted with this one. I am not a rum finish anything. I ruined rum for myself a long time ago. Rum is just not anything with the hints of rum. I mean, people love rum finishes, but like for me, it just doesn't do it for me. Bardstown Foursquare did very well last year for a lot of people. And for me, again, just was not for me at all. I just can't do rum finishes. The first thing that catches my attention is the fact that this is their bourbon. So they're going to finish their bourbon in this rum barrel. Sometimes a finish can complement the whiskey and it can enhance it a little bit, as long as it's a little subtle. Rum finishes aren't always that subtle though, and you just started releasing your own bourbon. They did very well with the double oaked. They did very well with their high rye bourbon. So to me, to now take that same product and finish it, I don't know if there were certain batches or barrels that they felt like weren't up to their standards to where they had to finish it. So I'm curious if this is more one of those subtle finishes where it enhances, or if we're trying to hide something from one of these other batches. But either way, Peerless, I've enjoyed every single thing that I've gotten from them. Their rye was one of the first ryes that I truly enjoyed. So to go from that, the double oaked rye, the double oaked bourbon, the high rye bourbon, all of it has been very, very good to me. I think with the price point, that's where a lot of people kind of hesitate. Definitely a try before you buy type of situation. But for me, I got a chance to try it before I bought it, and I've enjoyed everything. And so since then, I haven't needed to try it before I buy it, because I can just trust that they're going to make good products. But again, rum finish, not for me, but it is one that I'm curious what other people's thoughts are going to be, especially if they enjoy rum finishes. All right, number 3, Wild Turkey announces their Master's Keep for 2024. This one is going to be called Triumph. It's a 10-year-old rye. And so this is actually the oldest age-stated rye that Wild Turkey would have ever released. I'm excited about the Master's Keep series in general. They are, for the most part, very, very good. This one, just as a reminder, this one had a rye a few years ago. This one had the one that's right next to me. They had the 17-year-old, the bottled and bond, all these different things. They had a rum finish last year. And again, not to keep driving this, rum finishes are not for me. So I didn't even try it, because it's again, I would be too critical of it just because of my own palate. But I'm sure people out there enjoy it. But there were some people out there that kind of felt like it kind of fell off. And I don't know if it's because of that rum finish. And again, when you finish something, are you trying to hide something? I don't know. It just didn't seem to get the fanfare that previous versions have gotten. I do think this one, a 10-year rye from Wild Turkey, I definitely think will make up for that. And I think it'll have more than enough hype behind this bottle. It'll definitely be one that I'm looking for, but I'm just excited to see not only them get back on it with this series, but it to be a rye as well. All right, number 4, Milam and Greene is introducing their very first bottled and bond product. Again, for those that may not be familiar with bottled and bond, there's all these little different things that have to happen in order for that to be a bottled and bond product and called that. One of the requirements of bottled and bond is that it has to be distilled by one distillery, one master distiller within a distilling season. So a bottled and bond product, especially for a craft distillery, tells me that not necessarily that this isn't sourced, but a lot of the times it's a sign that this is their product and they are ready to bring it to the market. We already know that Milam and Greene is making their own whiskey and doing all these things, but I believe, I don't want to get this wrong, but I believe that they do source some of their whiskey in their blends, but I do think that they kind of have their own piece to it. I think it kind of reminds me of like Bardstown. So Bardstown did this where they had their whiskey, but they had a certain percentage of it and then blended it with other whiskeys from other places, and then did the same thing. They released their own bottled and bond, and that's their product 100%. So I kind of think this is the same with Milam and Greene. Again, could be wrong, but that's what I kind of think is going to happen. And Milam and Greene is a brand that I love this brand. I love everything about them. I love their passion. I love what they're doing with Texas whiskey and how they're kind of showing us that whatever we think about Texas whiskey is wrong. And they have figured out better ways to age and deal with that humidity, and all these different things they're doing is great. Either way, I'm excited to try this bottle. I definitely can't wait for it to get in, and as soon as I get it, I will definitely feature it on the channel and review it and all that stuff, because again, just a huge fan of everything they're doing so far. And number 5, Frey Ranch now has a new contract with Southern in terms of distribution. So what that means is that there's a few more states that they'll be included in. So they already had a few states, but I felt like it was very limited, and especially when you're dealing with craft distilleries, again, same type of thing. It's hard to kind of get that product and meet that demand. But Frey Ranch is one that a lot of people want, and a lot of people hear a lot of things about it, but they're not in a market to where they can get it. Always a tough situation when you're a company that has the demand and you can't really meet it. But I think with this new contract with Southern and getting some of that distribution out, it actually adds Indiana and Florida to their distribution list, which of course, me being in Indianapolis, I'm extremely happy for. I can't wait to see Frey Ranch just sitting on the shelves, because I do think it's a great brand. And for those that may not be familiar with that brand, it's a grain to glass brand. They have their own farm, they raise all their grains, they do all these things themselves directly to the bottle. So it's a brand that just prides itself on quality and making sure that this is the best product possible, and that they know exactly what's going into this bottle. And for that, I can respect it. But again, all that really means nothing if the whiskey isn't that good. And I think the whiskey is that good. So if you're in Indiana or Florida or one of the states that's already being distributed in, try it. If you have not tried Frey Ranch yet, you need to try it. I'm telling you right now, Frey Ranch is just killing the game right now, and they are doing a fantastic job as a whole. All right, I think we covered the whiskey news going on right now. These are 5 different things going on. Like I said, breakingbourbon.com, shout out to them. The website is amazing. That's where I got this information from. And I kind of look through different headlines and try to figure out what matters to me as an enthusiast, and what am I excited for, what am I not excited for, and just to bring you information to see what's going on in the whiskey world. Some of these maybe you already knew about, maybe some of these got put on your radar today. So either way, I appreciate you all tuning in. Thank you so much for all of the support. I know I say it every video, but it's because I truly mean it. All the support for all the content has been fantastic. I actually got a chance to go to a local whiskey event from West Clay Wine and Spirits. Shout out to them this past weekend. And I met a few different people that are subscribed to the channel and just heard so much positive feedback about the content. And that just means the world to me. So I appreciate everybody that I saw and talked to over the weekend. And I appreciate all of you that I haven't talked to that are just leaving very positive comments and just keeping me motivated to keep going and all that stuff. I definitely appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.